What's up? In today's video, I'm talking all things bone broth. I'm taking you to the store. We're gonna buy some bones, bringing you to my kitchen, and we are going to make this broth together. I'm gonna tell you why you should be drinking bone broth if you're pregnant or immediate postpartum, and how it can help you. Let's begin. It is a really slushy day out, but I am headed to my favorite butcher, Mikatoni's in Oak Ridges, to pick up some chicken bones for bone broth. Come inside. So, I know exactly where to go, headed for the freezer to find their grass-fed, actually no, there are Mennonite raised chickens. Mennonite raised chickens, come with me. Marrow boiling. Let's see, lamb shanks, chicken bones right in the bottom. So the first thing we're gonna do with making bone broth is I have my 2 crock pots here because with all this bones, I'm gonna need my 2 crock pots. And yes, I have 2 big crock pots. So what I do first is I just open a bag and I put the bones in. I think with this one, I will just put the small bag. Sit it in a hot tub of water and they can just fall apart, and then I can split them up. Alright, so what we're going to put in our crock pots with the bones is some flavoring. So I have some peppercorns, so I'm going to put some peppercorns in. Put in some celery. If you have some carrots, you can put in carrots too. And I really like to do onions. So what I do is take an organic onion and I just cut it in half and I leave the skin on it. And if you leave the skin on, it really makes a nice, the color of the skin helps to make a nice color of like golden color for your broth. So that's kind of an added plus you can do. I have a couple garlic cloves. I will just cut them in half. I can leave the skin on with those as well. And then if you have any vegetables, like I already put in my celery, I can put in some kale. Now, here's the trick. You don't want to put in too much greens because it's going to taste green and you really don't want too much green, okay? So you're going to put in some greens, maybe a little bit more in this one. I think that'll be enough. And then for natural salt, I use seaweed. Okay, so I have 3 different types of seaweed here. The one that I recommend the most is kelp, okay? So kelp is high in iodine. So this is really good for your thyroid function. So I'm gonna put in my kelp in each of these. Now what you can also, and so you don't have to put in any kind of salt. Like you don't need to do any kind of, regular salt, iodized salt, sea salt, nothing like that. It's all in the seaweed. And I have a little bit of dulse too, kind of sitting around, so I might want to put that in. And a friend of mine gave me laver. I had never heard of laver before, and I'm gonna admit, it stinks. If you are putting laver in your bone broth, it's gonna stink. So I just put in a whole little bit of it. It's gonna smell, but it's not gonna taste bad, okay? Because I did it last time. My husband woke up in the morning, he's like, oh, what is that stank? All right, so we have all of our, everything in here. I did the peppercorns. And lastly, what I'm gonna put in is some apple cider vinegar. And what apple cider vinegar does is helps to break down the bones. And so what we want to do is slow cook the bones over 24, 38 hours, somewhere in between, so that the bones have kind of like started to crumble, and all of the bone marrow, all of the amino acids that are inside of the bones start to leach out. And that's like the good stuff. That's the stuff that we want. So from here, I put in everything, and then I'm just going to cover my bones with water. So what you want to do is make sure that your bones are entirely covered with water, and then you're going to plug it in and leave it. And go play with your kids. Oh, go prepare your next meal, whatever it is. So, oh yeah, a little splash, splash. All right, so what I recommend is I don't get my chicken bones at like the regular grocery store. I make sure to get them at a butcher that I trust. So as I said, these ones are Mennonite raised. So I know that they're raised with organic food or food, maybe that isn't certified organic, but it's high quality and it is organic food. So I know that my meat is trusted and it's not just coming from a factory farm. So my bones are covered here. I have put everything in it, and I have some people who have asked me, well, I'm vegetarian or vegan. I really don't want to do chicken bones. How can I make a mineral-rich bone broth or mineral-rich broth without the bones, without the animal part, right? So what I recommend is you can do the same thing with vegetables. So any kind of, carrots, celery we put in here, your greens, onions, garlic, whatever and slow cook it down. It's not going to take 24, 48 hours, but I'd say 12 hours, and you will have a mineral-rich broth as well. Obviously, it's not going to taste like chicken or beef or whatever it is, but it'll still be rich in minerals. So, biggest question is, why should I make bone broth? Why do I need bone broth? What's it good for? And this is specific for pregnant moms, postpartum moms, anybody really. So when I was pregnant, I drank this stuff at least 1 cup a day, warm. So you'll see when we finish the bone broth and I jar it, you'll see what it looks like. And every day I would just take a little bit out of my fridge, warm it up and drink that. And what is great about bone broth is that it helps with our immune system. So remember I said that the butcher said all the chicken bones were gone, probably because most people are trying to make bone broth, stocking it, storing it in the freezers for when, the cold, the flu arises, or just to keep everybody healthy during winter. So what is in the bones of the chicken is amino acids. So glycine and proline, which are really good for helping, if you're a pregnant mom, helping with bone growth for baby, helps with brain growth as well. I already talked about our immune system. So, boosts our immune system. So I know a lot of friends, when they're sick, they call me up, hey, you got some bone broth? Well, that's why I'm making it now, because I don't have any, so I'm stocking up. And worst comes to worst, most grocery stores do carry some bone broth. It's not going to taste that good. I've tasted some and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so gross. And you know what? You don't even have to drink it. Like I told you, I drank it when I was pregnant. You can make a soup with it. This is your soup stock, okay? So you don't have to drink it plain. This can be soup stock. You can use it in stir fries and whatever else you would use a broth in. And I drank this after I was pregnant too. So I had my baby, and with my first pregnancy, I was like baby brain all the way. Like I felt in the clouds. I was foggy, like it was just like this haze of fog around my head. But with my second baby, I drank bone broth every day and I had no issues. So bone broth really helps to lift up or to get rid of the fatigue and just help to keep us awake. And it really helps with mood too. So it boosts your mood, boost your mood, actually helps you to sleep better. It boosts your mood, helps you to sleep better. It's really good for memory, so increasing memory, because we need that after having a baby, and sometimes when you're pregnant too. And then postpartum. So whether you have had a C-section, maybe you've had perineal tearing, you've got stitches, or you have abdominal separation called diastasis recti. That's what I had. Bone broth will help with all of that because, again, rich in amino acids, proline and glycine, which help with soft tissue healing. So all those things I mentioned. If you had stitches because you had perineal tearing, or you had a episiotomy, or somebody used forceps on you, or you have a C-section, all of these things can be improved with bone broth because of the amino acid content. And lastly, collagen from the bones that have leached out into the bones are really good to help keep our bones strong, as well as our tendons, and maybe you have some kind of joint issues. So I know some people just like postpartum, relaxin happens, your hormones are crazy. Some people just have like some weird joint issues going on. So I find with a lot of my moms that bone broth really helps with that. So because of the collagen that's in the bones, this can help with any kind of tendon issues, any kind of joint issues that you might have. I used to have, like, every time I walk up the stairs, I have this clicky sound happening. And bone broth totally helped out with that. So if you have stiffness, same thing. And if nothing else, it'll help with hair. Beautiful hair and beautiful nails. My nails are not beautiful because it's freezing cold outside and this weather sucks all the life out of my nails. It's time for a pedicure. It's time to open up this baby. Yeah, all right, so it's been here for 24 hours already. This one too, we're gonna turn it down because I am using them in soups tonight. Hello, so I am back. It's been 24 hours that our bones have been slow cooking. I have 2 slow cookers going, as you know. The other one I'm just gonna keep going for another maybe 12 hours, just because I really need this one today because we are making soup. So what I have is a big huge bowl with some water and a colander, a strainer. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is place that in here and I'm going to slowly, this is hot, pour this so now all the bones, all the meat, all the veggies, whatever's been slow cooking is now in here and I can use my broth. Sometimes if I have like a chicken carcass, this looks like, I think this is part of the turkey carcass. There's actually some really good meat on it that you can pick off. Say maybe you're making tacos. I don't know, for those of you who are really frugal, it really doesn't have a lot of taste, okay? So maybe you're gonna be using it for the protein, but like as for flavor, it's kind of gone. So use it if you want, maybe in some kind of quesadillas where you're gonna be getting flavors from other spices or whatnot. But now I have my bone broth and it's all ready to use in soup. All right, so we are back with bone broth. Okay, so the other day, actually, it was more than 2 days ago because I was so sick yesterday that all I did was stay in bed and I drank a whole mason jar of bone broth. Thank goodness, because this is the only thing that I could keep down and it really hydrated me. So thank God we made it 2 days ago. So I wanted to show you today what last time where we left off was I was filling the mason jars with the hot bone broth and then I refrigerated them. So here is what you are left with. Here's what it looks like after it's cold. So as you can see, this little top part, get rid of this glare. This top part is the fat from the chicken, maybe some fat from the actual fat, the skin. And so what we wanna do is just skim that off with a spoon. Just place it down. So we skim that off with a spoon and then you can discard that fat. Now, this is actually easier if you want to omit this step and go straight to freezing it, you can do that. So if you're gonna be freezing your bone broth, make sure that you fill your mason jar, so you leave at least 1 inch on the top, then you can place it in the freezer like this. However, do not screw your top on completely. So you want it to leave it like so that still air can get in, because if you don't, and I broke so many mason jars and I have ruined so much bone broth because I'm like, why do they keep breaking? They keep breaking because I either filled them up too high or I tightened the top. And so when it freezes and expands, it has nowhere to go but like out the sides. And so my jars would always crack. Okay, so tip for if you're freezing. All right, so what you can do when you freeze it, and let's say you didn't want to do this step, when you freeze it and then you leave your jar in the fridge for a couple days actually, it starts to thaw from the top down, which is really cool because you can skim off this fat a lot easier because everything underneath it will be frozen. So you can just skim it off and you can probably do a better job. So you can do it either way. So what I want to show you, I'm going to get a better spoon. I've skimmed off all the fat. I'm gonna get in close here. And what I'm left with now is the bone broth. And it's kind of hard for you to see. Let's do this. But all this stuff, see how jelly-like that is? That is all the goodness, right? All that jelly. That's where all the collagen yeah, so good. That's where all the collagen lies. So we want all of that. And this is what your bone broth should look like. It should be a little bit jello-y looking. And then what you can do every day, is just pour your bone broth into a cup, into a mug, and then you can microwave it, or you can heat it up on the stove and just drink it like that. So it's a really nice, you can use it as a base for a soup, or you can use it to drink every day. And one thing I forgot to mention is one benefit of bone broth is for when you're sick, like I was yesterday, so sick. This will really help with the digestive tract, with the gut, and also if you are prenatal, so if you're a mom in your first trimester and you cannot keep anything down and you are so nauseous, this helps out. So try it. So I hope you learned a lot about bone broth, and I hope I've made the case for why you should have your homemade bone broth on hand, in your freezer, in the fridge. And if you are a pregnant mama or postpartum mom, I hope you are drinking it daily. And if it kind of weirds you out about drinking it, just try it. Warm up, maybe half a cup, and just sip it. Obviously, you don't want it to be too hot, but just sip it and try it out. If you're not a fan, that's okay. Put it in things like soups, stews, sauces, and you will get your daily intake of bone broth.